So, we're back again, family. Twice a day. What a day. Well, I was thinking about something earlier. I didn't put it in a previous video because it just slipped my mind, you know. You got this sense of there is no gravity and mass attracting mass and space-time warping, and it's not much about space-time warping. It's just, you know, when you're in the field of gravity, you're already stuck to the atomic system. So you got to bring it down to that level. You cannot dismiss or use anything from that without addressing it. And do you know? No one knows, you know. Never touched an atom, never touched a electron, proton or neutron. But that's the system in which they think this exists. So you got to work with it. Or at least when dealing with people who believe in that. And then if you break it down in that system, you actually have mass attracting mass. You know, the mass as the amount of electrons, which creates an EM field, electromagnetic field. That's in the atomic system. And then mass can attract mass, and it's demonstrable. So don't wave things away because their model is not true. You know, within their model, they created something, you know, and it's still a model. You still got to prove the model, which they don't. But in the theoretical model, it works. And they just don't know how to explain their model. As for flat earthers, it's hard to get a grips with how they see the world, because they're all confused. They're all confused assholes. You know, space doesn't exist. Gravity is fake or doesn't exist. But they then jump back to density and buoyancy, which is dependent on particle model, because they don't have any other explanation for it. And it kind of works, but it doesn't. You know, they then forget that everything has an electromagnetical property. And they get all convoluted and shit. It's neglectable. You know, neglect a ball. They make their own traps. Flat earthers are, I think, on the right track, but then again, they don't think things through. It's like the main drive in YouTube is to be an opposition. And then I get what some globers say, it's a psyop. It's all propaganda and brainwashing. And yes, it is. Because most of them dare not to think through their own system of thinking. Because they try to debunk something based on a model. They try to debunk the model with the tools of that model. But they are not capable of replacing it with something viable. Density and buoyancy are still dependent on atomic model. Even though it was created before the atomic model, it's still particles. It's the same confusion as with Kelvin and Celsius and Fahrenheit, all temperatures, But they describe different things based on different models within the atomic model. And they just, it's just a measurement. And then, flat earthers come and they come with proof of the flat earth, or evidence of the flat earth, which is based in the atomic model, which they denounce on the one hand and use on the other hand. And when they denounce it, they don't know the details, and when they use it, they don't know the details. It's very confusing. But then again, the globies don't know shit. Because they don't read, nor do flat earthers. I just can't grab the bandwagon mentality. Following NASA, yeah, that's bandwagon. Following religions, yeah, that's bandwagon. Politics, bandwagon. Flat Earth is just another bandwagon in that. Show me the curve. Okay, that's valid. But then explaining and getting to grips with reality. Oh, space is fake. Well, that's one motherfucking bandwagon, because you cannot prove it. We're not capable of disproving space, whatever space is. Space is a vacuum. Vacuum just says it has no gas pressure. Well, figure out if you can find out how to measure the density of plasma. Because that's what NASA claims space is. More than 99% of space consists of plasma dust. Figure that one out. But they don't want to. They are so big-headed. It drives me nuts. And then you got the whole ego thing. Most people don't understand ego. And maybe it's because, like anything else in this world, every word has multiple meanings and everyone is stuck to one. Maybe I'm stuck to one, I don't know. But it bothers me a lot. And I don't get how people can be jumping up and down. Space doesn't exist. If you just think about what you don't know of that claim, you can go up there, for a fish being outside of the water. There's no water pressure, but there's still air pressure. So for us, going out in space, there's no gas pressure, but there might be plasmatic pressure, because we just don't know. But we do know, and we can know, and we can learn about it by what NASA thinks is out there in space. And they 100% claim it's not more than 99% plasma. So what's left are the bodies that we see in space. You know, just look up at the night sky. You can see stars, planets, all that bullshit. And all that is, black void of space is actually plasma. Because that's the rest, That's the more than 99% that you see out there. It is so frustrating. So that's kind of why I'm not much on the Discords anymore and not interacting with flat earthers much, because they're a frustrating bunch, just as much as Globers are. And there are more important things in the world anyway. But I love you all, and I hope people can see the fact that there ain't no curve, not like the model.